On conjunctions, a little lesson on conjunctions. Conjunction is a part of speech. So conjunction, it's a word that provides a junction, a connection, a link in your sentences. So that would be the first thing, know what conjunctions are. But then there's different types of conjunctions. So one to know is a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunction. So this would typically be a word in a middle of a sentence, and it's providing that link. So a good acronym for coordinating conjunction that you may have heard of is FANBOYS. FANBOYS. So these are words that could go in the middle of a sentence. So what does this stand for? F is for A is for and, N is for nor, B is for but, O is for or, Y is for yet, and S is for so. So you would have these coordinating conjunctions in the middle of, say, a compound sentence or a compound complex sentence. So a compound sentence is an independent clause, plus coordinating conjunction plus independent clause. All right. And then when you have an independent clause after the coordinating conjunction, you would put a comma before the conjunction. So you don't always say, whenever you see and, you can't just automatically put a comma before it. I like baseball and basketball. There's no comma there because after the and is not an independent clause. But if you do have a compound sentence, then yes, you would put one. So something like this: today is Friday. That's an independent clause. Could be a sentence. And I am about to go home. Period. That is a compound sentence. So that's a quick one for fanboys. Compound sentences, hopefully you know what independent clauses are, subject, verb, and could be a complete thought. Well, the other conjunction I want to go over is a subordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunction. So these are conjunctions that could start that starts a dependent clause or subordinate clause. And here's the acronym of some subordinating conjunctions that a student brought up to me. I had never learned, like I had heard of fanboys, but I thought this was cool. AWUBIS. AWUBIS. Sounds like it sounds like a greeting, like in another language, AWUBIS. So I like that. It's a little mysterious. So here is an acronym to remember some subordinating conjunctions. A is for after. Well, there's a few of them for A. After, although, or as. These can be subordinate conjunctions starting a dependent clause. Remember, a dependent clause is going to need a verb with it, subject and verb. Okay, W stands for when or while. U, AWUBIS, stands for until. All right, the B is for because, also before. The I is for if, and then the S is for since. These are subordinating conjunctions. So if you are trying to learn subordinating conjunctions, dependent clauses, this would be a helpful list. Why could this be helpful? Why is it good to remember these? These could work with complex sentences or compound complex sentences. But these are indicators that a dependent clause is coming if there is a verb with it. So a complex sentence, it could be a dependent clause. If it starts with the dependent clause, then comma, and then an independent clause. But could also be reversed. The order could be reversed and still complex sentence. So let's do DC plus IC. Because it is Friday, the weekend is here. Dependent clause, independent clause. When you start with the dependent clause, you got the comma. All right. And then because is one of our AWUBIS words, subordinating conjunctions. So that is a complex sentence. You could reverse that. The weekend is here. So I'm starting with my independent clause. The weekend is here because it is Friday. Notice when you reverse it, when you start with the independent clause, you don't put a comma right here. So that's just one thing to learn with punctuation. So if you memorize these AWUBIS words, it'll help you learn dependent clauses, which will help you learn complex sentences, different types of sentences. Why does this ultimately matter? This is all about syntax. Syntax is sentence structure. It is the way you structure your sentences. So you don't want to always use the same type of sentences when you're writing. always simple sentences, always complex sentences. You want to mix it up. You want to use different types of sentences. So hopefully this lesson is helpful for a couple different acronyms. FANBOYS for coordinating conjunctions, AWUBIS for subordinating conjunctions.